That is a nice looking little $2.99 right there. Welcome back to Tommy's Tune-Ups. So we have the PTO side of the case in the little toaster oven here. I've got it set to about 150 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't really want it to get super hot because of how the seal is already pushed in there, but I also didn't want to try and fight with putting a seal in a hot case. So we're going to keep a close eye on that. We also have the crank in the freezer. I had to remove the head studs out of both the case halves just to get it to fit in the oven, but we're all prepped and ready to go. We've got our case seal here too, and that's going to fit on pretty nice, hopefully. Should all work out. We're going to have to work really fast though. Once we get the crank out of the freezer, it's going to start to warm up right away. All right, we're getting real close to go time here. I got my grease ready. I'm going to run and grab the crank. Okay, so we're doing the clutch side first. I've already greased these bearings. All right, hopefully this is warm enough. Seal feels okay. Just gonna put a little bit of grease inside the lips here. It's definitely warm. Nice. All the way down. That was awesome. All right, I think we're ready again. I'm gonna go grab that out of the freezer. All right, we're back. Nice and frosted up. Everything stayed where it should have. These bearings are also pre-greased. Our seal is in place. It's not gonna get pinched, I don't think. So, let's pull this out. Same thing, just gonna put a little grease on the lip seal. Beautiful. Make sure you tighten these down as well. I just double nut the top of them and then gave them a quick snug. So those are all the way down. We can open up our other half of our gasket kit, put the base gasket on, and then we'll put the piston on. Just the same as the other little Rotax engines, there is a centering pin on the piston rings. So you want to make sure you have your gap lined up with that. And also just double check that your arrow is facing towards the exhaust, and then lube everything up real good, and we should be okay to set the jug on. So I double and triple checked everything. Next thing, we want to make sure we put the head on the right way, because the way this head is ported, these notches in the piston here, they also have to line up. So it's really critical that everything goes on the right way, obviously. Beautiful. Just like that, seated all the way down. The owner of this sled has also done a really nice job on the cross hatching on the cylinder. Everything looks really, really good. I'm going to lube the walls up as well before I put the head on. Now we put the head on, we got our head gasket in place. This head's nice and clean already. It's a little different shape. It's got this big dish out, or whatever you want to call it. So it will be real nice with that piston in there. Same thing, line it up. Thing of beauty. Now that the head's torqued as per manual, we're going to pull our spark plug out, double check that everything rotates all nice. We want to make sure the piston is not going to hit the top of the head. I don't think it will, but there's always that chance, especially with this being a modified aftermarket piston. Oh, we got lots of clearance. So it's not too hard to spin. Very much the same as the 250 we did, though. There's a bit of resistance there, but it just feels like nice tight bearings. And we got a nice fit with our piston and rings in the cylinder bore. Our Mikuni clone carb fits on here real well. We're using the same gaskets that were left over from the 250 kit. They're actually the same on this engine. Everything just bolts right up. I have to change the jets in this carb as well, so it did come with a pretty good assortment. There is actually a page in the manual that says about what size jets you should use for what size engine. So I'm going to take an educated guess and use the jets that are shown for a 300cc twin. I'm thinking it's going to be pretty close, get us in the ballpark of where we should be. We can dial it in afterwards, but there's not really a whole lot of difference, I don't think, between a twin and a single and how much gas they're going to use. But so far, this has been really great, and this little carb has actually worked awesome. It helped make that 250 single run really well, and I probably should have put something like this on my 250 twin instead of the cheap Amazon one that I... So let's put the stator on. For this, the internal coil, the spark plug wire actually has to go through this grommet as well. So I'm going to pop that grommet out, feed these wires through, and then bolt this up. There we go. So we want it to be turned counterclockwise a bit. You can kind of tell from the old screw marks where the washers were set that it was almost all the way over to the left, or well, to the right of the hole, sorry. So it was almost all the way over to the right. So we'll snug it down. We'll just use that as a starting point. Again, we have to put the shroud, the flywheel, and the fan and everything back on before we can set the timing. So now is the perfect time to check your points gap as well. Make sure you put the spring in first on this so that way it stays spaced out where it should be. But this one, it's also 16th thou. So this fan has the same markings. It's got the arrow to the bottom of a fin, and then it's got a little point break mark. Again, it also fits only one way. So we're at top dead center now. Fits right on, and the fin lines up with the mark on the top of the fan shroud. There you have it, folks. For the most part, we have this engine mechanically assembled. Turned out really nice. So I got to talk to the customer and see what he wants to do about the decompression mechanism that goes in the head, whether he wants me to just put a bolt in there, or maybe he has another one kicking around somewhere. And then I got to steal the exhaust off of the 250 and put it on here. And then also probably going to rob the starter hub off the 250 as well. And then I'll just replace it on the 250 when he brings me the new one. It's nice to finally have these all together. I wish we could have rebuilt the twin, but that's okay. These two were lots of fun. I want to say thank you to Pat for giving me the opportunity to do this. I really enjoy working on these old engines and everything. I just do it as a hobby. I'm not a professional, but take your time and Go slow, read the manual. Anybody can pretty much figure it out. But it's really cool that these two engines are pretty much the exact same size. The only real difference that's going to be an issue putting it in the sled is that the 250, the spark plug is straight up and down, it's out of the way, but on the 299 it's on an angle. So we're going to have to tilt the motor like this, so that way this will clear on the underside of the dash.